There has been a collision of tragedies in the crypto sector, and it has been going on for a while now. The headlines are decorated with heart-wrenching details of sad and discouraging news. In a way, the rapid collapse of Silvergate, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature Bank exposed the fragility of the traditional banking sector, hence depriving crypto of its primary fiat on-ramps in the United States. However, we can't possibly shut our mouths about predictions that have a chance of being attained in the crypto industry. If you ask any keen crypto observer, the prominent statement that would be laced on their lips is that the collapse of SVB, like the one of Silvergate, was largely a result of unfavorable market conditions and poor risk management. The shutdown of Signature Bank was more controversial. According to multiple sources, the bank was not facing insolvency and had steadied its capital outflow when US regulators decided to take it over. Well, many in the crypto industry saw it as a political decision targeted at pushing crypto out of the United States. Silvergate and Signature were the two prominent financial institutions providing banking services to crypto companies. Following their devastating shutdowns, it will be far more challenging for crypto companies to interact with the dollar-based financial system. Of course, many eyebrows, especially from the government, were raised at the plethora of disadvantages invading from the financial system. While many spoke up and addressed these situations, some kept their opinions to themselves and preferred to be watchers. A member of the European Parliament and former Minister of Finance of Belgium, Johan van Overveld, even called for a strict ban on crypto as a result of the banking crises. In a March 17th tweet, Overveld suggested that the lawmakers should consider banning cryptocurrencies as a lesson for the collapses of the Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and the Silvergate Bank, pointing to digital assets as speculative poison. If a government bans drugs, it should also ban cryptos, Overveld tweeted. However, despite the comments highlighting the disappearance or death of crypto, it is safe to say that the digital asset is here to stay, and while we'll continue to emphasize this fact, it's important to know where the crypto sector is headed and the fate of most cryptocurrencies in terms of price and prominence. But do you want to hear some bullish predictions? Well, we got a couple for you. Former Coinbase Chief Technology Officer Balaji Srinivasan is betting big on Bitcoin, forecasting that the cryptocurrency will hit $1 million by June 17th because of a rapid devaluation of the US dollar. Balaji entered into a $1 million bet through Twitter with two individuals offering up Circle's USDC stablecoin to a pseudonymous Twitter personality known as James Medlock and another anonymous person, if Bitcoin fails to achieve the historic gains he predicted. The wager was initiated on March 17th. Balaji tweeted, "Here are the remaining references, as Twitter has a limit on the number of links in one post. I am moving $2 million into USDC for the bet. I will do it with Medlock and one other person, sufficient to prove the point. See my next tweet. Everyone else should archive this." "Sir, I believe we have ourselves a deal," James Medlock tweeted in response. This $1 million bet is part of Balaji's perspective that the global economy is on the cusp of a magical transformation, culminating in what he termed as hyper-Bitcoinization, and a redomination of the global economy on Bitcoin as digital gold. And what a smart prediction. With respect to the proposed terms, if Bitcoin's price fails to reach $1 million by June 17th, Medlock will win $1 million worth of the dollar-pegged stablecoin USD coin and 1 Bitcoin. Similarly, if Bitcoin is worth at least $1 million by the predicted date, then Balaji can keep the 1 Bitcoin and the $1 million in USDC. Balaji explained in the thread, "You can buy 1 Bitcoin and I will send $1 million. This is 41 odds as 1 Bitcoin is worth 26k. The term is 90 days. Other Twitter users helped set up a smart contract with the betting terms. Balaji also disclosed that he would move another $1 million in USDC for another wager on the same subject. Medlock and Balaji made the wager based on their different views of the US economy's future amid raging uncertainty regarding its banking system. So, we'd like to ask you, what do you think about this particular move? Balaji argued that there is an impending crisis that will lead to the deflation of the US dollar, and thus to hyperinflation scenarios that would take the Bitcoin's price to $1 million. Medlock, on the other hand, is bearish about the upcoming hyperinflation in the country. This is just like a mix of pessimism and optimism. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's recent surge past $28,000, outperforming Wall Street bank stocks, has led some on Twitter to call it the Great Decoupling. Likewise, the bold bet has sparked lively debates on Twitter, with prominent personalities, including Jimmy Song and Adam Cochran, weighing in on its possibility. Although Adam pointed out that Bitcoin could have utility during an existential crisis for the financial system, He argued that Balaji's bet was instigated by an unrealistic hope in a risky macro environment. He pointed out that the collapse of the US and European banking systems would ultimately obscure the potential value of Bitcoin, hence making bunkers a better use of money than purchasing the world's largest cryptocurrency. So let's move on with the most recent update. According to screenshots shared on Twitter by the pseudonymous software researcher from Central Europe, Albacore, Microsoft has added code that would integrate a non-custodial crypto wallet into the company's default Edge browser. An interview with experts on Altcoin Daily discussed this feat in detail. Now, the newest update in the gauntlet of questionable upcoming Microsoft Edge features is a crypto wallet. Are you comfortable with this kind of thing being baked into a default browser? Well, let's take a deeper dive. According to the screenshots Albacore shared on Twitter, a user interface for a cryptocurrency wallet, a decentralized application explorer, a news feed, and the ability to buy crypto through Coinbase and MooPay were depicted. The enhancement is already baked in to recent releases on Microsoft's Edge browser, but is hidden and inaccessible to users. However, the software researcher cautioned that Microsoft builds and tests a lot of things that never see the light of day. The Edge team are kind of throwing every imaginable thing at the wall and seeing if it sticks. The list of obsolete gimmick features that they tried and eventually remove is quite long, he said. Even so, Albacore acknowledged the Edge wallet's functions accurately. Considering I was able to use it just fine, I would imagine that a rollout is not out of question. I would hope that if it was a tiny trial, they wouldn't bother deploying the services to production, he said to a crypto news outlet, Decrypt. Furthermore, the Arbitrum community is rejoicing. This Ethereum Layer 2 solution recently announced that it will be airdropping its long-awaited governance token, ARB, to early users of the network. After years of development and nearly 18 months running on the mainnet, the Arbitrum Foundation is extremely excited to announce the launch of DAO governance for the Arbitrum 1 and Arbitrum Nova networks, a massive leap forward in decentralization of the two networks, the project stated. Arbitrum is one of the crypto projects aiming to make transactions on the Ethereum network more affordable. This is achieved by outsourcing computational data and subsequently sending validity proofs back to the mainnet. The airdrop eligibility was determined by several factors, which including bridging to Arbitrum 1 or Arbitrum Nova, transacting on the network for several months, interacting with multiple smart contracts, conducting transactions over $10,000 in value, and providing over $10,000 in liquidity to various protocols. The completion of any of these steps guarantees users a portion of the ARB drop, with the size of the allocation increasing based on the number of fulfilled criteria, of course. The airdrop was scheduled to be claimable on March 23rd. And according to recent reports, Arbitrum has hit an all-time high in daily transactions and unique wallets interacting with the network ahead of its airdrop. An analytics platform known as Dune highlighted that close to 240,000 unique wallets interacted with Arbitrum on March 21st, nearly twice its previous peak in February 2023. There were also more transactions on Arbitrum than on the Ethereum mainnet. Recently, Ethereum hosted just over 1 million transactions each day. These metrics may continue to surge after users can begin claiming their airdrop tokens. See why crypto is here to stay? The plethora of goodies coming on board will further reinforce the digital asset market. Nonetheless, you're free to have your own thoughts, conflicting or not. But that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure you click on the subscribe notification buttons, and we'll see you in the next video.